Righto, let's get straight into it. Chris Condon, mate, you're in the thick of it there last Friday night. Nikita Tszyu, Michael Zerafa. Mate, we'll just get straight to the point. The stoppage, how did you see it all unfold?
What happened was an accidental head clash. I had a look at I like to keep things moving, I don't like to stop the momentum of the fight. I had a look, I said it was on the eye. It was a cut, but it was actually on the cut was on the eyelid. And I think people weren't aware of that. And what actually that means is, so what I done was I wanted to give them time to clean it up best they could before I showed the doctor, because when it's on the eyelid, you've got to go to the doctor. So you'll see that what I done was I give them time to clean it up, and that's why I called time out at the beginning of the third, because I wanted to show the doctor, get the doctor his opinion. The doctor I've dealt with before in New South Wales, good guy, knows what he's doing, and but Michael said he couldn't see, plain as day.
Yeah, there was some conjecture about why, I guess, he was taken to the doctor in the first place.
Okay.
Can you sort of address that?
I've already sort of addressed that by what happens is the rule is if it's on the eye, the fight should be stopped.
Yeah. All right. And then once Michael says he can't see, what was your understanding there? You can't overrule the doctor. There's nothing you can do there.
In Queensland, yes, I could, but you'd be a silly man to overrule the doctor, if you know what I'm saying. And also, I know the rule, and the rule is if the cut's on the eyelid, it needs to be stopped. I remember, I think it was back in Tokyo at a convention where Jack Reese had actually spoke about it and put photos up on the wall on showing the different cuts. And I remember that was an instant stoppage.
What about prior to the fight? Was there any sort of, mention of cuts in the rules meetings and stuff like that?
Yeah, that was a strange situation. What happened there was, I don't know if you're familiar with the way I referee, and I told them I referee in a way that I don't like to get involved in the fight, physically involved, and I made the point that no one knows the fighter better than the cornerman. And I said, don't be frightened to throw that towel. If any guy gets probably criticised, they say I let things go too long, but never have I yet had a serious injury. I like people to fight. That's what people pay for, and that's what the fighters getting paid for. And what happened was the question was asked if the doctor asked me to stop the fight. Well, that's the exact question was asked. If the doctor asked you to stop the fight, what would you stop it? And my answer to that question was, to be honest, I was shocked with the question. I've never had it before. And my answer was, well, I think my answer exactly was, well, I'll be a silly man to overrule the doctor. Yes, I'd stop the fight.
Was that question about a cut in particular, or?
No, not a cut in particular, but asked about would I overrule the doctor.
How do you, I guess, look back now? There's people blaming certain people blaming the doctor, people blaming Michael, people blaming you. What's your read on all that?
I refereed to the rules, and I'll be honest, I was quite shocked when Michael was right beside me. Look at the video clip, you'll see. I explained to Michael that what's going to happen. I explained to him it's before the fourth round and it's going to be a no contest, and he was happy with that. Then as soon as I stopped the fight, as soon as I waved the fight off, he shook his head and said something to the words of, well, I didn't get the chance. Well, yes, they were given the chance.
So you were surprised that Michael was sort of resigned to the fact that this would be called a no contest. Did you expect him to sort of, put it on you and sort of argue with you, I guess?
Well, actually, if you look at the video clip, I can recall it quite clearly. He said he couldn't see. The doctor said before the doctor said he can't fight, I said, well, let's go then. And he sternly said to me, I can't see, like that. I can't see. And the doctor then said to me, he can't fight. So then I explained to him what was going to happen. quite clearly what was going to happen and waved the fight off. And then Michael stood beside me talking to, I think it was Ben Damon, and said, the fight was stopped. I wanted to continue.
How does that make you sort of feel, right? How do you feel when you hear that?
There's no worries with it, but that wasn't the case. We all know that. You would have heard the conversation.
What's in a fight of this magnitude at that moment when you've got to, you know that you're under a duty to wave the fight off. Obviously, you put emotions all aside, but how did you feel in that moment when you knew that this was it?
Yeah, to be honest with you, soon as the doctor said to me, he can't fight, well, everyone went out of mind, then the fight was over. You know what I mean? And like I say, I'm known as a referee to make people fight, but when the doctor says he can't fight, he can't fight.
Yeah.
It was sad.
Yeah, how do you feel this is for fight fans and Australian boxing?
What happens is terrible. Accidents happen. I don't think people knew what I thought was strange. The guy done a good job on stopping the blood, but there was a fair bit of blood coming out of it when the fight was on. That's why I let him go to the end of the round and see what they could do. It's disappointing, but that's boxing. That's what happens in boxing. That's what happens.
And sorry if we're going over old ground, but when Michael, did he mention, I know you said you took him to the corner because of the cut under the eyelid, but did he mention to you prior to seeing the doctor that he can't see?
No. What he didn't really have the chance. In Michael's defence, he didn't really have the chance to. What happened was, I knew what I was going to do in the break. I knew that I was going to call timeout. I knew what I was going to do. I was taking the because the cut was on the eyelid, and I know the rules.
Yeah, but
just have to get it from the doctor. Do you know what I mean? It's just just a lot safer thing to do to get the doctor. And the doctor was quite shocked. If you remember that Michael actually closed his eye like that to show the doctor where the cut was. Maybe the doctor hadn't seen it. And that's all.
And it was also curious, there was no blood at the point when he went over to see the doctor.
No, that's what I'm saying. They'd cleaned it up really good. Now, if it was a cut to the brow, I would have let the fight continue. I already knew in the break I was going to get him to call timeout. I think I'd already signaled to the doctor I'm going to call him up in the break when I was getting the cards. I'm pretty sure straight away I let the judges know it was caused by a accidental head clash. And then I was always getting because I seen the cut was on the eyelid. And I know the rules. The rule is if it's on the eyelid, it's shut her off.
Yeah. Where do you think Michael can recover from this in his career? Or is, the public sentiment has been quite damaging?
Probably not for me to say, but I thought myself, usually you fight when you want to win, mate. You fight till you don't go say like Tim Tszyu said. Tim Tszyu was blinded, and he said that every time the doctor asked him, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah, I can see." Michael probably took the easy way out, but only person knows that's Michael. I think he took the easy way out, but that's the way things run.
Yeah, and just the last one. So you were expecting more of like an argument towards you at the end there. I can see let's fight on. That's what you were.
Yeah, well, that's the type of that's how I referee. You know what I mean? That's what I do, and that's what I said. Okay, let's go. And that's if you have a look at the video, I remember what was said. I said, well, let's go. He said, I can't see. And then the doctor then said to me, he can't fight.
Michael's put out a statement in the last hour or so, sort of saying that he there was a wrong choice of words and adrenaline and all this sort of thing. I don't know if you've seen the statement, but
no, I haven't. No.
Yeah, he sort of said that, sort of backtracking a bit on his words, but he maintains that he had poor vision. I guess you haven't seen the statement, but any response to that?
No, that's possible. Like I say, hey, it takes a brave man. I've only refereed Michael's Zerafa one time, and I can tell you I was very impressed. And I thought he won the first round. I was waiting for a really good fight. I thought it was going to be honestly thought it was going to be a really good fight. I think he got stunned a couple of times in the second round, but it was even. You know what I mean? And it was disappointing for the way that it went, but that's boxing, and that's what happens. You know, controversial that it is, but who knows? Michael said he couldn't see; it was blurred. So,
All right, Chris. Thank you so much, mate, for your transparency and your time, and I really appreciate it.
no worries. All. Thanks very much. Bye.
Thank you, mate.